Is standing by. Aldrin, we saw the outgoing ANC national chairperson Baleka Mbete having a discussion and addressing some journalists, you included. What exactly did she say? Take us through that discussion.
Well, Lulu, we have now confirmation from the outgoing chairperson, Baleka Mbete, that she is endorsing the campaign of Cyril Ramaphosa. This is certainly a major endorsement for Cyril Ramaphosa, considering that Baleka Mbete was also in the running to become the president of the ANC, succeeding President Jacob Zuma. Of course, if you look at the numbers, she hadn't received the numbers that the likes of Cyril as well as Dr. Nkosazana Zuma have received, but certainly having someone like Baleka Mbete endorsing this campaign, coming out publicly and stating that she endorses the campaign of Cyril Ramaphosa. This is certainly a major boost for the CR17 campaign. It's the first time that we've seen something like this happen. Remember, even earlier this week, we also heard from Lindiwe Sisulu, who's indicated that she's agreed to run as Cyril Ramaphosa's running mate and becoming the deputy president of the ANC. She will be accepting nomination when those nominations do come through as the deputy president. However, though, when I tried to ask Baleka Mbete whether she'll be available for any other top official position, she said yes, but she didn't go into detail about which position it is that she will be available for. You'd remember that since the election back in 2007 as the chairperson of the ANC in Polokwane, she's held that position, re-elected in Mangaung, and it seems as though that she's willing to continue serving the top structures of the ANC. Not certain which position it is that you will be available for. If you take into consideration that she says that she's had these discussions with Cyril Ramaphosa, while there are these debates, for one thing that we should bear in mind is that Cyril Ramaphosa's camp has already come out and said that they have accepted Lindiwe Sisulu to be their running mate, to be the deputy president in Cyril Ramaphosa's slate. This then means what other position could be available for Baleka Mbete, and could it be that the second deputy president position could be available? But this, of course, would have to come down to the constitutional amendments of the ANC. If you remember that provinces such as Gauteng, they have been pushing for a second deputy president. There's also an expansion proposal for the DSG, that is the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, that to have 3 positions as DSG. Would Baleka Mbete be available for those positions? Certainly something that we have to watch quite closely. And when she was asked about wouldn't she receive flack, considering that she was a female candidate running to become president of the ANC. And remember, earlier on we heard from President Jacob Zuma, who really praised the candidates, who said that we've never seen 7 candidates run to become president of the ANC, but emphasizing that this time around there were 3 women who were equally capable, and all 3 women were running to become president of the ANC. When she was asked why not endorse a female president, she was certain that the discussion that she's had with Cyril Ramaphosa had brought her to the conclusion that Cyril would be the person who would bring the interest of the parties, would be central to his leadership, as well as the unity of the party, which would be something which is quite important. But strangely, though, she's come to this conclusion, yet she has confirmed that she hasn't met with Dr. Nkosazana Zuma, and there has been no discussion whatsoever in terms of her endorsing Dr. Nkosazana Zuma to become the next president of the ANC.
Aldrin, just the mentioning of the fact that she has endorsed Cyril Ramaphosa's campaign for presidency. Now, the fact that she has waited this long, do you think this was part of a plan, or this is something that just happened and decisions were made this evening or during the course of the day? Do you think that this has been in the coming for some time?
It would be a bit difficult to say whether this has been something that has been coming. If you remember previous reports, as well as parliamentary sittings that have been taking place, there was one instance in Parliament where Julius Malema, the EFF leader, stood up and accused Baleka Mbete of failing to preside over the parliamentary debates that were taking place on that day. And Julius Malema mentioned that President Jacob Zuma had promised Baleka Mbete that he will be endorsing her to become the president of the ANC. ANC to succeed him as president of the ANC, and that did not happen. And then came the reports that Baleka Mbete could be disgruntled, she could be angry at President Jacob Zuma that he has turned his back against her. And if you remember back in after the January 8th statement, when the ANC Women's League came out and announced that they have endorsed Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma as their preferred candidate, Baleka Mbete were one of the first people to come out and say that where exactly did this meeting take place? Why wasn't all females consulted to say whether they would be available to be elected or nominated as the preferred candidate to succeed President Jacob Zuma? So she has been wanting to become the president of the ANC, so that has been something that has been ongoing. However, though, her campaign has been very, very slow. And if you look at the number of endorsements as well, she is trailing far behind the other candidates. She doesn't even have, as it stands at the moment, she doesn't even have an endorsement for any other position, like the likes of Lindiwe Sisulu. At least Lindiwe Sisulu from some provinces has received the endorsement to become the deputy president of the ANC, and this is of course on the CR17 slate, and Baleka Mbete is not featuring anywhere, and one cannot say whether this has been something that has been coming. When I interviewed her a couple of days ago, she mentioned that when I asked her the question that are you still available to become president of the ANC, is your campaign still in full swing, and she was certain that yes, I'm still on the ticket to become ANC president. I will still avail myself, and this time around we've seen that she has turned the tables, and we'll have to wait and see what this will mean for CR17, but more importantly, what does this mean for Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma's campaign to become the first president of the ANC who is a female?
Aldrin, let's speak about the reaction. Baleka Mbete has turned the tables, something that must likely not have been expected by the delegates at the conference and the voting delegates. What's the reaction been like? Have you managed to get any reaction from some of the delegates or from the executive itself?
Well, no reaction at this point. As you would know that we have been fenced out of the plenary session, which is currently underway. That's where all the all the delegates are. So there's been no reaction. She's actually walked out of the plenary session to come and make this announcement. But it'll be quite interesting to see how they respond to this. More importantly, how people such as Sihle Zigalala, who has been campaigning for Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma, the likes of Supra Mahumapilu, the chairperson of the ANC in the Northwest, as well as Ace Magashule, the chairperson of the ANC in the Free State, how would they respond to this? Because this is indeed another blow to their campaign, taking into consideration the 3 court rulings that happened yesterday, a blow certainly to the campaign of NDZ in a quest to becoming the president of the ANC.
Aldrin, the numbers that the outgoing ANC chairperson Mbete is bringing to the CR17 slate, do we have the exact figures of exactly how many people or how many voting numbers she's bringing to the table?
A bit difficult to say at this point, because remember that even though we look at the nominations that have been taking place, as we've indicated before, only one nomination can come from one branch. But if you remember, the formula of the ANC indicates that for the first 100 members in a branch, one delegate will be sent to conference. But for the extra 200, for every extra 250 members in a branch, 2 delegates will then be sent to conference. So that's the difference in trying to weigh up the numbers in terms of nominations versus the actual numbers. And we'll have to wait and see how things pan out in the credentials. We understand that the credentials, the presentation of the credentials has now been moved to 9 o'clock in the morning, and how that will pan out, also taking into consideration these court rulings that have taken place, and now some people have been barred, of course, to be participating in this conference, and of course the NEC meeting, the NEC decision that was taken this morning, that those who have been affected by the court rulings, the 3 court rulings indicating that structures, the BMG, the branch general meetings that took place that have been nullified by the courts, as well as the PECs which have been nullified, that is the Free State as well as KwaZulu-Natal, that they will forfeit their voting rights. They will just be ordinary members of the ANC who will be participating in the conference, but they won't be having any voting rights.
Aldrin, we'll have to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for joining us. That was our reporter Aldrin Sampier, who is at Nasrec in Johannesburg, giving us an update after the withdrawal of the outgoing ANC chairperson Baleka Mbete and her endorsement of Cyril Ramaphosa for the presidency position. Time now for